and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Tory Lovullo can take a punch. He lost 198 games in a 2-year span and somehow kept his job. He navigated through a series of 1-year contracts, not easy to do in pro sports, and 9 years into his tenure in Arizona, and his career record is below 500. His resilience is rare. But will he survive one of the most disappointing baseball teams we've ever seen in the Valley? As a longtime Lovullo supporter, I believe he is tougher than he looks and harder than he sounds during his post-game press conferences. I also know that many decisions come from above his head, and these are crucial elements to understand before you call for the manager's head. But the pitchfork mob is becoming an army, and from Mike D'Antoni to Bruce Arians, even the most likable coaches and affable voices grow old and stale. It's an eternal fact in the coaching realm. Now, you hope that's not happening with Lovullo, but this Diamondbacks team goes to sleep in the middle of games. They're not always locked in defensively. They don't always have that edge. As Lovullo said last night, they played confused baseball 30% of the time, which means maybe change for the sake of change applies in this situation. Maybe it's the only thing that can save this baseball team, and it angers me because this team is taking advantage of the ultimate players manager, a guy who is always taking bullets on their behalf. Personally, I'd give Lovullo until the end of June to turn this thing around. The schedule gets much softer, and he deserves a little more time to get this right. But I shudder to think what this town will sound like if the D-backs squander this series against the Pirates, and how much longer the owner is willing to wait. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW. Make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
I don't want to say that we got a lot of time. I don't want to live in that space. I want to do it now. I want to play good baseball right now. That's what we deserve. This organization, this entire valley deserves for us to go out and win baseball games and play our best baseball game. So, but yeah, if it was September, I'd probably be a little bit more frustrated. But I guess if there's a silver lining here, is we got a little time to figure this out. But I'm kind of impatient, and I'm growing extremely impatient these days. And I want it to happen right now because that's a pretty damn good baseball team sitting in there playing less than 500 baseball, and that to me is absolutely 100% unacceptable.
That is Tory Lavell last night after the Diamondbacks inexplicably just blew a 6-run lead against the second worst team in the National League, the Pittsburgh Pirates, who had been dead in the water up until the 8th inning. And the bullpen gave them life, and it is the latest. I think it's now 5 or 6. I think we could probably classify that many losses in the gut punch category.
Yeah, I think we're at 5
now.
Or
just terrible losses.
Mm-hmm.
And I said it a couple weeks ago, the Diamondbacks give you one of these games a week, and that is not the hallmark of a good baseball team.
No.
I'm sorry. Now, are they capable of being better than they are? Yes. Everybody would agree with that. We had Tim Kirkjian on yesterday, and he is adamant that this will be a playoff team still. But to hear Torey Lovullo say it, like, I don't want to wait anymore. And you have to wonder what the patience level is, because the expectations are different. The financial commitment is way different. They went and signed Corbin Burns to a $210 million contract, and they didn't expect to do anything close to that in the offseason.
No, and it's a shame because the rotation is finally coming around. I believe they're now 4th in Major League Baseball in quality starts. They've been stacking them as of late. But
unfortunately, they're not leading Major League Baseball in complete games, which is kind of what they need to do to win games because the bullpen is so untrustworthy.
Well, how about the anecdote Todd Walsh told us about players who are in the middle of games pleading with the manager, don't go down there, don't pick up that phone.
No.
And that will tell you how demoralizing blown saves can be. 12 of them, by the way, this season for the Diamondbacks. 12 blown saves. And then you just...
And it's not June yet.
Right. And you're doing it against the dregs of baseball. And that is why, even though I counter with this idea, at the very least, give Tory Lovullo the grace to get through June. They've already shown they can lose to bad teams. So I don't know what the soft schedule ahead of the Diamondbacks is going to mean. Again, Tory Lovullo, he's the 1-year contracts means that there have been times when Ken Kendrick hasn't always been sold on him. So I really do wonder what is in the air over on Jefferson Street because, and I said it earlier today, this game today, for if this team doesn't rally to kind of quell this talk for their manager, it's what Todd Walsh said it's going to be. Careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
If you're acting like a baseball team that just has tuned out the message, then you might get something you really don't want. And then you're going to go, oh, man, we had it so good under that guy. And I said before as well, Zach Gallen, the season started with weirdness. All the hand-wringing over who's going to be the opening day starter, canvassing 32 people or whatever it was, 30 people. Mm-hmm. This would be a great day for Zach Gallen to give his manager a masterpiece.
I would agree. We'll see if it happens. And he pitched decently last time out on Friday in St. Louis. It came down to one play, the Arenado triple. Alec Thomas made an unbelievable effort to catch that ball, didn't do it, swung the game. Mm-hmm. And it goes on Zach Gallen's record. To your point about giving maybe patience till the end of June to see what can turn around. Between now and June 29th, you finish up with Pittsburgh, home against Washington, on the road at Atlanta, at Cincinnati, home for Seattle and San Diego, then back on the road for Toronto, Colorado, and the White Sox, and then a 3-game series at home against the Miami Marlins. Mm-hmm. That is the definition of manageable.
Yes.
And there are a couple teams in there. Seattle's decent. Right. The Atlanta Braves always give the Diamondbacks troubles. But for the most part, that is a very manageable stretch of schedule where it's not impossible to consider your 8 to 10 games above 500 in that stretch. If you're playing the right brand of baseball, which is what eludes this team on a daily basis.
The last quote Torey Lovullo said in the last one you played, I wonder how that is sounding to the owner. Quote, that's a pretty damn good baseball team sitting in there playing less than 500 baseball, and that to me is absolutely 100% unacceptable. I'm sure the owner feels exactly the same way. So the why are they underachieving? That's the tricky part for Torey Lovullo.
It certainly could. I mean, it probably is now, but it could turn into be a lot trickier for him.
Yeah, very much so.
Tory Lavell also talked about the offense again last night after building a 6-0 lead. Diamondbacks don't even garner a base runner for the last 5 innings of that game. Here was Lovullo on the offense.
And once in a while, I think this team is a little bit reactive. I want them to be more proactive and keep their foot on the throttle. And I want their credit. All the credit is given to their left-handed pitcher that came in the game, Wentz. But I believe our hitters can beat anybody at any time. So we got to keep after it, and I want us to be proactive and play D-back baseball.
That was the weird part about it. They go to Wentz. He gave up 3 straight run-scoring hits, and then after that, nothing.
Nothing.
Now they weren't killing the ball.
That's inexplicable to me.
They weren't killing the ball on those hits, but they scored runs,
right,
and proved that they could get to him. Mm-hmm. And then the other part of it, the bullpen, just a complete gut punch failure last night in the 8th with Ginkel and Beeks. Here was Torey Lovullo on what the bullpen needs to improve.
I think in the areas that we can improve upon in that bullpen, when you get into certain counts, don't let the count linger. Go out there with your best stuff and finish off hitters, and continue to pound the zone with your best stuff. We just made mistakes out over the plate. We couldn't throw strikes in certain counts when we needed to, and that resulted in a big number that ended up costing us the game.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, look down there on the arms that they have available. Who do you trust right now? I still trust Shelby Miller.
Mm-hmm. Justin Martinez, but he's still working his way back, and he's had one good outing and one bad outing since he's been back. Ginkel has proven unreliable. Thompson's proven unreliable.
Mantiply's not here anymore. Those are the 3 guys leading up to Seawald, that the World Series run. That was a season and a half ago.
To me, the Ginkel and the Thompson pieces are what's inexplicable to me, because these have been terrific relievers for the Diamondbacks.
But relievers tend to come and go.
They do.
If you have a good season, it's not a sure thing that reliever is going to be nails the next year.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's such a crapshoot in building a bullpen.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. So I wonder if the solution is something like putting Eduardo Rodriguez in the bullpen and framing it to him, dude, you're going to be our savior, is what you're going to be.
That's how maybe you can get him there.
Oof. I don't feel great about that either. It's a role he's never played before.
I know.
And do you really want to be resorted to, having a $20 million middle reliever? I don't think that's ideal either. How about everybody just pitches better?
Yeah,
how about that? There's the solution.
How about we get out?
$20 million middle reliever. Yeah. What, Sammy?
No, to Vinny's point, like, how about we just get out?
Yeah.
Like, do your job. I mean, it's easy for me to say, do your job.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the outs, but that's what they're paid to do.
It always boils down to doing your job.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.